Welcome back to part 2 of this sort of celebration video. Now in the first part of this video we're actually cooking away some beautiful lamb shanks, and I've got those in the oven right now. Now this is actually part 2, so what we're going to be doing here is actually getting on with the dessert, which is going to be blueberry cheesecake, and preparing the starters, which are going to be sort of mushrooms with a garlic and parsley sauce, and we're going to fry them up in some breadcrumbs. So let's crack on with video 2 and kind of get this sort of dinner party celebration going. Now the first thing I'm going to get on with is actually going to be the dessert. Now we're going to be making blueberry cheesecake. Really simple. I've actually put the ingredients in front of me here to show you how simple these ingredients are. So we quickly just kind of run through what we've got here. Now first of all, I've got the blueberries, fresh blueberries, and what we're going to do is just put those in the frying pan and just lightly kind of, cook them away. Not for very long, but just so they release their juices and soften up a little bit. Now I've got some biscuits here. These are sort of ginger snaps, and these ones are digestives. Now I'm actually going to sort of blend those up in my sort of blender just to kind of break them down, mix them with a bit of butter, and that is going to be your sort of base of your blueberry cheesecake. Now to actually make the creamy bit in the middle, the white stuff, I've got some mascarpone, 250 grams, one tub of mascarpone. Then I've got some double cream. I'm going to use sort of 3 or 4 tablespoons of double cream, and again the same amount of icing sugar, because you've got to kind of sweeten it up a little bit. We're also going to add in, I've got the zest of the lemon. So on the outside, the skin, I've kind of grated it like you do your Parmesan cheese, and under there we've also got the juice of 1 lemon as well. So pour that all in, and then finally I'll top it up with the almonds there. I'm going to very slightly roast those in the oven, and if I remember, I've just put a little bit of mint just to finish it off, and these are going to be delicious. So first of all, I'm going to start blending up the biscuits and get those into sort of breadcrumbs. So I've finished blending those. I think I've got all the sort of lumpy bits out. It doesn't matter if you've got the odd lump. So let's take that off. Look at that. All nicely blended, ready to go. So what I'm going to do is get a little bowl. I'm going to tip all that mixture in with 25 grams, a small slice of butter, and we're going to use our hands to kind of just blend it together like it's little sort of breadcrumbs all mixed up. So I've got that mixture of the butter and the sort of biscuit all mixed together, and it's kind of moist, but it's also, sort of nice and crumbly really. So I'll leave that there. Now what we're going to do is make up these desserts in little ramekins, small little ramekins. Now I've actually got those in the freezer at the moment to make them nice and cool. So I'm going to pull those out, and then I'm going to put the biscuit base at the bottom of the ramekin. Now I'm just going to scoop some of the mixture in each of them really. Kind of spread it around a little bit. You want to sort of make sure there's a good base. So I've got it sort of evenly spread, and I'm just going to use my spoon. Now I've got this little bent spoon really, which is ideal for doing this and for doing gravy. And what you want to do is just go around, kind of press it down, and make sure you've got a nice sort of solid base really. You have to sort of dig away at the spoon, but when they get in there it's really tasty at the bottom. So I've got my 4 ramekins, and I've got that sort of, the biscuit base, the bottom of the cheesecake mix in the ramekins. So I'm just going to move those aside, and we're quickly going to get on with this sort of white mascarpone, and we're going to use a bit of cream and lemon and flavour it all up, and that's going to be the bit that's going to go on top of this. And then finally we're going to put the blueberries on there. So I'm just going to move those aside, and we're going to put a bowl there and actually get on with the sort of cheesy mixture. Now first of all, I'm going to use a whole tub, 250 grams of mascarpone cheese. Then we've got some double cream. Now I've actually got a dessert spoon, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Use 6 of those. That's plenty. And we've got some icing sugar. Now again, I'll use 4 heaped dessert spoons of that. It's roughly about the same. 2, 3, 4. Then I've got the sort of zest of the lemon, so we've used a grater to get all the sort of the skin off, but try and leave the white bit behind because that's a little bit bitter. Then I've juiced the same lemon, so we've got all the juice of the lemon there. So pour that on. And what you want to do is start off maybe with a fork and just, you know, kind of gently get it together and try and blend it together as much as you can, really. So just do this probably for a couple of minutes just to try and mix it all together, really. It gets easier as you go along. So I've been mixing mine really for about a minute or so, and it's gone into a nice sort of creamy paste. Look at that, that's beautiful. All the liquids kind of sort of gone into the mix, and that is ready to put in our ramekins now. So I'm going to move that aside, bring the 4 ramekins back, and we're going to spoon this mixture into there, and it's going to be so delicious. So let's just try and again equally kind of split this. It doesn't matter if you get a little bit around the side, because we're going to top it up with the blueberries. So just start off by scooping a big dollop in each of them, really. And I'm just going to use a little spoon there and kind of pat it down as you go. So I'll do the first one and you can carry on. So now we've got the cheesy mixture in the 4 ramekins, all done, all kind of equal amounts. I'm going to put those in the fridge because I want them to harden up. Because later on, when we actually sort of just in the frying pan put the blueberries just to slightly melt and get some of those juices out, I want to pour them on top, and I want the base to be a little bit hard. I don't want it to be sort of soft so everything kind of just merges together. I want to see all the blueberries and the juice on top. So I'm going to put those in the fridge now. So now I've got the lamb shanks sort of ticking away, and I've got the 4 ramekins with that cheesy sauce in the fridge. I'm just going to pull out and check on my lamb shanks. So let's pull those out of the oven. Now I've just pulled these out of the oven, and as soon as I opened that door the smell was just absolutely beautiful. So I'll just get those into view. Now I'm just going to take the lid off there. Let's have a look. Now I'm using a cloth because these pots, these iron pots, are so hot. You really do have to use some sort of protection when you take the lids off and move them around. Look at that, doing nicely. All the meat's lovely and covered. Now I might just, if I can, very gently kind of either flip these over or turn them around, really. I don't want to disturb them too much because I know the meat is going to get really tender and you've got to be kind of gentle with them. Oh, it smells so good. I can't wait to try this. So let's put the lid back on there, carry on cooking. I mean really, we've been cooking these for only about half an hour. We've already got the sort of dessert in the fridge nearly ready to go. So when I put this back in the actual oven, I'm then going to sort of prepare the actual starter. Now the last thing we got to prepare really is the actual starters. Now I might as well get on with those because you can actually prepare the sort of garlicky and parsley and butter mix, put it on the mushrooms, and they can just sit there until really your guests arrive, and then you can dip it in the egg, in the breadcrumbs, fry it up, and you're ready to serve the food. No time at all. So we're going to have plenty of time once we finish this just to clear up the kitchen and get everything ready, lay your table if you're going to do that. So let's just prepare the garlic mushrooms all ready to go. Now, first of all, with the mushrooms, I'm just going to grab one. Now what you want to do is try and dig deep and actually get the stalk out. Now I am going to peel these ones. You don't have to, but just gently peel those off. And what we're going to do once we've got all the skin off is just in the middle of here we're going to scoop the garlicky, parsley, butter in there. So just a nice little layer. So I've got my mushrooms there and I've peeled those up. So what I'm going to do is just move everything aside, and we're actually going to get up with sort of mincing up the couple of cloves of garlic, the bit of parsley and the butter to get that really nice sort of garlicky buttery sauce. So we're going to make up the garlicky sauce. Now I've actually got one of these little cheap machines really, just for squashing that down. And then what you can do is just use a knife and you can scoop that in really. It just kind of gets it all nice and sort of minced up. Now I'm actually using 2 cloves of garlic, so give that a good squash down. I mean, obviously do the garlic to taste really, but I've got all the nice fine bits in there. So now I've got the garlic in there and we've put it through that little machine. What I'm going to do is just put the leaves in there and I'm going to hold that and just kind of whack it together really. Try and mix those flavours. And once you get the parsley a little bit squashed down, bruised, and you get the flavours in there, what you then want to do is to actually add the butter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape all that sort of garlic and parsley off of there, and then we're going to put in some butter, and that then can go into the actual mushroom. Now again, just, you know, kind of judge it yourself really to how much butter you need, but put it in there, and again we can just give that a quick mix up, and it should sort of suck up all that. Again, just mix it up. If you think you need a little bit more butter, just add a little bit more. I might just add a little bit extra because we've got 12 mushrooms here. They're going to get 4 each. Just going to put that last little bit in there. That's it. I mean, it won't make any difference to the flavour, and obviously you want enough for each one really. So there you go, look at that. All ready to go, and we can just put that on the mushrooms now. Okay, I'm just going to grab one of those and just smear a little bit on there. You don't have to go too wild. You can always put a bit more on. I'm just using the back end of a little teaspoon really. Get a little bit on and just go round, because the breadcrumbs are going to make it look different anyway. So just spread that in, and we do that for all the rest. So now I've got the mushrooms all done, and we've got the actual dessert virtually done, sitting in the fridge cooling down, and we've got the main dish which has been cooking for not quite an hour, but you know, it's sort of halfway through almost. So there's no panic, and we've nearly completed the whole thing. Now what I'm going to do is put those sort of mushrooms out of the way, and what we're going to do is get these sort of blueberries in a little frying pan as I've got here. I've washed these first, and what we're going to do is add some caster sugar, put them on the heat, and just till they slightly soften and you get a bit of juice coming out, and then we can take those sort of cheesecake ramekins from out the fridge, pour it on top, put it back in the fridge, and they're all done. Now before I put the blueberries on the hob, I've got me almonds there. These are like flaked almonds, and what I'm going to do is set the timer up. I'm just going to put these in the oven for a few minutes or so until they slightly brown off, pull them out, and they're actually going to go on top of this sort of blueberry cheesecake just to give it a little extra. So I'm going to put those in the oven and get this one on the hob. So I've got my blueberries and I've got them in a dry pan at the moment, and I'm just going to do this on a fairly low heat. I'm going to add some caster sugar. With the caster sugar, there's no exact measurement, but say like a couple of tablespoons. You know, just make sure they're sweet enough for you, because it's nice when you've got the cheesecake just to get that little bit of sweetness. So what you want to do is very slightly soften them, probably no more than 2 or 3 minutes, and you know, some of them will start breaking down a little bit, and that's when you want to take them off the heat. Give them a little stir now and again though, very gentle. Now to give them a stir, just give them a shake like this. Look at that, got some juice on there already. Turn the heat down if you're getting a bit too much. And again, just keep giving them a shake. It kind of rolls them out over and mixes with the actual sugar. You can always try one if you want. Get a spoon, just try one with the sugar. Make sure it's sweet enough for you. Now I am just going to try one with a little bit of that sugar on it. That one there. Let me just try that. Nice. I'm just going to add a little bit more sugar, not much. Just a sprinkling. And again, give those a shake. And just wait until you've got some juice out of there. And then what you want to do is cool them down. Just leave them off the hob somewhere cooling away. And if you want, you can add just a tiny little bit of water to it. It's only because it kind of helps with the syrup. Hardly anything. And again, just, you know, kind of merge that water with the actual juices. And they're not really going to be very long. Look at that. Beautiful colour all around the edge. Just added that water, just made a little difference. So I'm just going to leave that now, because I think they're pretty much done. I'm going to take them off the heat, and then we're going to pour that, once it's fully cooled down, over the actual cheesecake sort of mascarpone stuff that's in the fridge at the moment. So leave that aside to cool down completely. So you've just been watching part 2 of the 100th video celebration meal. So if you want to see how it all comes together and unfolds, and you know, what it all looked like in the end, you'll need to watch the third and final part, part 3. So I'll see you there.